My boyfriend talked me into having a three-way with my best friend, and now I'm done. I know I'm probably gonna get people yelling at me that I should have never agreed to it, and that this is my fault. But I mean, when you have your 18F boyfriend 23M pestering and badgering you for months, sometimes you just give into it. We had the threesome about 2 weeks ago, and I've just been, I don't know. I feel so ugly and like I'm not enough. I think I enjoyed it in the moment. I don't know, but now I'm just done. My best friend is so pretty and just everything I am not. She's tall, blonde, and athletic, has the perfect face. I love her. She's amazing. I am short with black hair, and I'm not fat, I'm just bustier and have thick thighs. Even when I was underweight, I just look like a stick with boobs and too big of an ass. I always wanted liposuction or something just to get rid of the excess fat, but I just keep replaying it in my head. He had so much fun with her and even forgot about me at times. I'm just not enough for him. Now every time he messages me, I don't get excited, or when he tries to touch or kiss me, I just shrug him off. Whenever he holds me when we're in bed, I just get nauseous. I really wish I was enough, but I just never am, because every man I'm with always wants more, wants somebody else. I'm just done and needed to vent. I'm sorry. Edit. Thank you all for the advice and comforting me. I really appreciate it and honestly needed it. Thank you, kind strangers. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "Are you and your friend both 18? Because this guy sounds real questionable. I mean, also, if anyone is badgering you for anything regarding sex, that's coercion. So yeah, I'm very happy you are leaving him. You are enough. He's just taking advantage of the fact that you are young, and maybe he preyed on your insecurities." My best friend is 21 years old. I've known my best friend for about 5-ish years, and I've known my boyfriend since I was 17, I think. We only started dating shortly after I turned 18. Then user 2 commented and said, "Wait, why did your friend agree?" I don't know how to explain this, but she has a sex bucket list and has always wanted to have a threesome. She was iffy at first, but I think he convinced her it was okay and nothing would be different or change. Then user 3 commented and said, "You wrote during the threesome that your boyfriend was with your BFF more than you to the point he excluded you from the threesome. Did she do the same? Or did she try to include you? Did you guys talk about how you felt after the threesome? How is your friendship with her now? Is everything normal with her? Do you feel the dynamics have changed between your boyfriend and BFF? Like their relationship and how they interact with one another has changed as well? Is your boyfriend back to normal? Has he noticed how you have changed and how you feel about the threesome? Communication is key in a relationship, and if this keeps bugging you, it's time to move on." My best friend included me more than he did, to the point he got a little frustrated. She was openly trying to involve me, and he was just ignoring her. I've told her how I've felt. She told me she understands why, and how she even feels a little weird about it afterwards. Honestly, I feel like we're okay. I mean, she's seen me naked before. I've seen her naked as well. Like, all that's changed is we've now sexually been intimate with each other, but other than that, she still feels like the same old friend I've had. He's kind of become more and more infatuated with her, I guess. He's texting her more, asking me to text her from my phone for him to relay messages, talking about her moving in with us, etc. But she's blocked him and told me she doesn't feel right with the way he's behaving. He's noticed, and all he's complained about is how I haven't had sex with him since that night. He asked me if I was jealous, and when I said no, he said, "Okay, so why won't you touch me?" So he's noticed, but he's just more upset I won't sleep with him. I know communication is important, but I just feel kind of worried about telling him how I feel. It's stupid, I know. Update. I broke up with him. I found out he had another girlfriend with whom he has been dating since 2020. She lives in a different city for college, the same city his sister lives in. So every time he was visiting his sister, which was weekly, he was visiting his actual girlfriend slash fiance. I was basically filling her spot until she graduated, and they are basically engaged. I am so hurt and distraught right now. I'm staying with one of my friends. I blocked him on everything and just want to move on. I am so effing upset and hurt right now. I feel so ugly and used. I feel like the worst person in the world for hurting another woman. You really can't trust anybody, because while he was making all these promises of marrying me and loving me, he was doing the same to her. I really don't think I'll ever be able to fully trust another SO after this. Thanks to all the kind commenters, I appreciate you. Now here are some more relevant comments. User 1 asked, Did you tell his other girlfriend? No, because I promised I wouldn't if he promised not to upload certain videos and pictures to a certain website after he threatened to do so. Then user 2 commented and said, "Do you have the messages where he said this? You need to go to the police, then tell her." I tried going to the police, but they told me I needed a lawyer and I can't afford one. And finally, user 3 commented and said, "Tell the other girl and report the revenge video threat because it is illegal." Alright, so I know 18, you're an adult and you can do things and stuff like that, but that is still a baby. You are still very young. And just imagine, think back to when you were 18 and when you were 23 and when you were 26. That is not the same person. It's an adult, but that is not the same person. And I'm not trying to invalidate how she feels and all that, but 18 is too young to give up on love, alright? You can get through it. For some people, they need to go through therapy or, I don't know, spend some time looking inwards, but it sucks, right? Even at any age, going through what she went through is terrible. But the guy was 5 years older than she was and took advantage of a young, naive 18-year-old, a girl who just turned 18, and then he's like, "Okay, let's start dating. You're the only girl I'm talking to," while his fingers are crossed behind his back, and then he's like, "Hey, your friend is really hot. Do you want to have a threesome? Do you want to have a threesome?" 5 months later, "Do you want to have a threesome?" Bro, chill out. And he's also got videos of OP, this poor girl. This man needs to die and go to jail and explode. One of those things at least. Anyway, what do you guys think? Next story. Story number 2. I broke my wife, and I don't think it's fixable. This happened 6 months ago, and I only choose to talk about it now because I don't see improvement in sight, and I am hopeless. We were at a party. My friend is single, and we started talking about love and relationships. My wife and I have been happily married for 7 years. We have 3 beautiful children. She is the love of my life. When I was talking to my friend, I felt like we were on different levels of thinking. His complaints are mostly superficial about how the people he dated looked like. I was a bit drunk at that point. It said something like, "You don't fall in love with looks. Look at me and my wife. I love her more than anything compared to my ex who was just looks." Everyone went silent, and my damage control was way worse, so I just shut the hell up. I couldn't get my point across, but even I thought that maybe these thoughts have been in my head, but only came out when I was drunk. My wife was shocked. First week, she was so angry and wanted to understand what I meant, and nothing I said was good enough. I was drunk. I love her. I think she's the most beautiful woman. She thought being drunk made me say my true feelings. Then one morning, she just said, "You know, I have never felt as ugly as I have felt this past week. I have always thought that I am beautiful." She didn't cry this time, but she hasn't been happy since. I started crying and apologizing, but she was like emotionless. It was the last time she looked at me too. She is taciturn and distant, but only with me. She has lost 20 pounds and she works out 6 to 7 days a week. She never has free time with me. If she's not with the children or her family and friends, she's immersed in some book or has her headphones on. She's always fully clothed now, even in bed. She locks the bathroom door when she takes a shower. She's more active on social media too. She shares many pictures of her and she thanks everyone who gives her a compliment. Before, it was just pictures with our children and pets, but now it's her, working out in sports bras and tights. I broke her and I don't know how to fix it. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "What you said doesn't seem like a huge deal to me, to be honest. Is there more to this, or is the wording slightly different?" The wording is different, but the sentiment is the same. I don't exactly remember what I said word for word. Then user 2 commented and said, "What happens when you try talking with her? Also, have you tried since the last time? I don't know why you said what you said, and to me it's important for you to recognize how you hurt her and say that to her. If you're serious that you love her, you gotta fight for her or get confirmation it's over, but it's up to you." She isn't rude or anything. She doesn't ignore me when I talk to her. She's less engaged and taciturn and only answers my questions. Then user 3 commented and said, "I think this is fixable. Get therapy and make your wife feel beautiful again. Treat her like someone you're afraid of losing and be proactive about it. This doesn't mean intimacy, by the way. This means communicating with her, telling her you care about her, showing her how much you do." If I tell her that she's beautiful or that she looks beautiful today, she would get very angry. In the beginning, she would say don't. Now, she doesn't even react, and it destroys me because I have always thought she is beautiful. I was trying to make a point that love is more than just being attracted by looks. And then finally, user 4 commented and said, So, are you going to answer any of the comments asking about what you said as damage control? Because that's a very important detail that you left out of your post, and it definitely matters. My friend, wife, and my wife's friend and husband were very silent, and I started saying that I didn't mean that my wife wasn't good looking, I just meant that I loved her for other things. Then even worse, I said that sometimes you are very attracted to someone and everything is a whirlwind with them, but you have nothing in common and see no future. And I probably alluded that I used my brain and not my Johnson when looking for a relationship. I thought it was the logical way of thinking, but for her, I think she would have preferred that whirlwind in passion. I haven't read all the comments, by the way. This is the first one I read that asked to explain the damage control thing. Update: 25 days later. We have been going to counseling, and my wife at first has been very reluctant to open up and wanted to pretend that everything was fine. One session, she just asked me, "I want the truth, here and now, no sugarcoating, and do not try to spare my feelings. Did you find me attractive when we met?" I really didn't know what to say to this. I love her more than anything, even more than my children and myself. I think that she's the most beautiful woman I know, but did I immediately think that of her when I met her? No, I didn't really find her attractive. We all grow up having a type. I remember thinking that she wasn't exactly my type, but she was so lovable and sweet. It didn't take me long to fall for her, and now I find women who look like her attractive, so I guess type is something very superficial and fleeting. I told her the truth. She cried and said that she herself didn't know why she was so hurt and crying. She knew that there were more beautiful women. She never wanted to be the most beautiful woman either, but that she has always been considered beautiful by other people, which is true and always got attention. But the fact that the one person she wanted to be found the most beautiful girl in the world by didn't think that, and that's what made her feel sad. The man she loved way before we even started dating. This was on our latest session, and it was the most draining experience. Later, when we got home, she apologized for making a big deal out of something this trivial, but that she just couldn't help it, and she was as confused to why it affected her so badly. On Saturday, she told me that she didn't want to stay in our marriage, that something broke inside of her. She asked me if I would try to hurt her and the children if we did separate, if I would use them to get back at her, alienate her because she chose to leave. I promised her that none of this would happen and that I loved her and wanted her to be happy, even if it wasn't with me. Our families are in uproar over this. Mostly they are angry with her, that she let her insecurities get the best and worst of her. But I don't think it is insecurity, to be honest. She has never cared about people's attention. She just realized that the only person whose approval she cared about didn't give it to her. At least that he had to learn it, and that wasn't enough. Now here are some more relevant comments. User 1 said, "As bad as your comment was in the first post, I had a feeling there was more to it. For her to have that fear, it seems you've at least been emotionally abusive in other ways. I hope she finds peace away from you." It happened to her sister. I understand why she is scared. Then user 2 commented and asked, "Then how are you standing up for her, advocating on her behalf, taking accountability for where this issue began? If you don't agree, what are you doing? If you love her more than yourself, like you said, how are you showing that?" Yeah, I made it clear that their opinions aren't welcome. Everything is just new, and I warned them to never bother her with their opinion. If they don't respect it, I will be cutting people off. And finally, user 3 commented and said, "Have you done anything to make her feel beautiful or to show her you love her? I don't know, but this sounds like years of built up not feeling good enough or not feeling attractive. I worry this will happen to me, as the compliments I get by my man are usually fished for, yet other men seem to compliment me for no reason." It has not been easy, since anything I do or say feels disingenuous to her, unfortunately. She has been rebuffing any attempt. It's not like I have just started doing that either. I have always shown how much I think she's beautiful and sexy. I am not allowed that anymore. Okay, so what is going on with this story? There is clearly something here that OP is not, addressing or realizing or trying to hide, because something feels wrong and they went 6 months with this weird tension and no love, and there wasn't a conversation, but apparently there was. OP is not providing enough details intentionally intentionally, I think, or he's just stupid. Sometimes in these scenarios, having read so many of these stories, I can maybe pull from other instances or see patterns, but I really don't see it here. I don't know why she reacted that way, because I feel like there's more to it. I don't think what he said was the worst thing in the world, but for 6 months of this and to warrant a divorce, and then I guess there was something with her ex, which wasn't really elaborated. I'm not sure. This story is weird. It's OP's fault. But anyway, what do you guys think? What can you draw from this? Next story. Story number 3. I'm your wife, not your mom. My wife, F32, always says this to me, M34, and I don't know how to respond. How can I make her see my side? Hey everyone, so my wife 32F and I 34M have been together 18 years, but have been arguing recently about the responsibilities within our marriage, and we can't seem to agree. I work full-time, and my wife is a stay-at-home mother. We have 2 children. One is in school full-time, and the other goes to preschool 2.5 days a week. Recently, my wife has been sending me these stupid TikToks that always say, your wife is your partner, not your mom, and essentially boil down to men should help out around the house, help with the kids, and pick up after themselves. A sentiment I generally agree with. This usually comes with a side of, you don't value what I do to look after the kids and plan everything, etc. Now, to be clear, I am not against helping out around the house and helping get the kids to bed and brush their teeth and cook meals. I do help with this stuff every day. I feel like all I do is work because the second I finish work, I have kids to help with because she has had them all day. My position is that she is right when she says kids are work, and I can appreciate that after a day of being with them all day that she is probably tired of kids. But I have also been at work all day too, and it isn't fair to expect me to be the sole parent as soon as I'm finished. Then there is the issue of housework. Our house is always a mess, which frustrates me when she complains about having to do all the unpaid labor of managing a household and looking after the kids. Because from my perspective, I go to work in a messy house and I finish work in a messy house. I work from home, go into my office for 8 hours only to come out for the occasional coffee and snack, which means that 90% of my mess is contained to a room only I go in. Most days while I'm at work, she isn't even home. I feel that I am holding up my end of the bargain by working full-time and then helping with housework and the kids outside of that. But she isn't holding up her end of it by looking after the house and the kids while I am at work. I could understand that she wouldn't get as much done around the house on days when our youngest is home, but on days where she is at preschool, she takes it as an opportunity to have a break and go shopping with her mom or go visit a friend. Whenever I bring this up or question how much effort she is putting in, I get, "You don't appreciate me," and "I'm not your mother." I'm not saying she should be waiting on me hand and foot as my personal maid, cook, and sex doll. Not that we ever have sex. All because I'm the man bringing home the bacon, and I really hope I don't come across that way in this post, as that really is not what I'm saying. But I am struggling here, trying to do everything, yet I am being told that I'm the problem for treating her like my mother, because I'm expecting her to do her part. What can I do to help her see my side? Update number 1. Yes, I help. So a lot of people are saying we need to sit down and try to look at things as a team, and I am totally on board for this approach, and we'll let you know how it goes. Also, to a few people disliking my framing of helping as it's my responsibility also, I agree. I used the term helping as that's the word she uses when saying I need to do more to help around the house. Another lot of you either can't read or are refusing to believe that I actually parent my own children. I wake them up in the morning, I make them breakfast every day, I get them dressed every day, I take them to school 2 to 3 times a week, I know their teachers, I know all their friends and their friends' parents' names, I know their doctors, I know their allergies, none thankfully, I bathe them, I get their PJs on and read them the same dang bedtime story every night for weeks. All because they don't want any of the other books that we have. They want George the Giant. I draw with them. I play games with them. I know their favorite Disney princesses and favorite superheroes. As for the household, I do laundry. I load the dishwasher. I cook my own lunches and tidy up after myself. I iron. I fold and put away laundry. I pick up their toys and tidy their playroom. And on the weekends, I take them to kids' parties. I also do all the chores that my wife won't because I'm the man. Like taking out the bins, cleaning the car, mowing the grass, fixing anything that breaks. Update number 2. Days later, after the talk. So I arranged for the in-laws to have the kids Friday night. Me and the wife sat down and had a talk, a long talk. probably one of the deepest and hardest talks that we have ever had in our 18 years. I told her my side, that I felt overwhelmed and underappreciated, that I felt like I was doing more than my fair share, and that she was not. I told her that I could understand that while I may be doing plenty around the house and parenting, that I was guilty of letting her take the majority of the mental load, but that still didn't excuse her behavior. I felt I was firm but fair, and to her credit, instead of fighting back, she listened. We discussed her feelings, and she admits to not prioritizing housework and trying to make the most of her free time, and agreed that we will sit down and come up with the schedule for cleaning that we are both accountable for. She told me some issues that I wasn't aware of, that her mother had been dealing with since retiring, and the passing of her father, wife's granddad, as well as loneliness and depression, issues relating to my sister-in-law. She's a mess and a constant headache, which was why she has been going to see her so much. Other feelings she had been having was feeling lost in kids, not having anything for herself, and some depression related to weight gain since having our second child. She has put on 40 to 50 pounds and no longer feels attractive. I told her that I still think she's beautiful, but she doesn't. Hence our DB. There were hurt feelings and tears from both of us, so we are taking steps to help. 1. We have both agreed to switch out mornings and evenings. I get the kids up, breakfasts, teeth dressed, and take them to school. She does dinner, bath, bed, etc. The next day, we switch. This gives us both some mornings/evenings free to do what we want. 2. We are both going to join the gym. I too have put on some weight and lost muscle since our second child. Hopefully this helps with her body confidence. 3. We are also arranging with the in-laws to have babysitters once a week for us, to start going on regular dates again. For context, the in-laws are our only support. I am an orphan of abuse, raised by my grandmother, who has now passed. 4. We have found a cleaning schedule where you do certain chores throughout the house every day, but pick up one room to deep clean every day too. With me doing laundry, dishwasher, etc., the things that take the less time, and her doing the deep cleans and general tidying. And 5. Most importantly, she is looking to get a job part-time so she can start helping financially. Give her some income that isn't from me, and give her something to focus on outside of being a mom. As all my wages went into the joint account, I felt like I never had any money, as I didn't want to spend and there not be enough to pay the mortgage, etc. So I never spent money and resented that she did. So when she gets a job, both incomes are going into the joint account. Then we are getting a budget together, making sure there is enough to cover direct debts, then dividing the remaining into accounts for savings and personal accounts for each of us to have our own money that we can spend how we want, guilt-free. Also, one more thing, number 6, I'm going to pick up a hobby that gets me out of the house and commute to the office once a week. One thing we discussed was that I was always at home. I didn't do anything other than work and be at home. So we didn't have a lot to talk about because I didn't go anywhere. It also meant that she never got any alone time at home away from me and the kids, and she felt like a nuisance being at home while I'm at work. We took this weekend to spend some time together as a family, took the kids to the park, went to a nature reserve for a picnic and bike rides. Took the kids rock climbing, followed by ice cream. It was really nice and we both feel like a weight has been lifted. It's obviously not going to change overnight and we need to work at it, but we have a plan and both seem to want to put in the effort. To everyone who gave me good advice or recommended therapy, we can't afford it until she starts working, but we are looking for when she does, and commiserated with our own stories or just had a kind word to say, thank you so much. There were comments that made me cry and so much insight that I hadn't even considered. Thank you. And to those of you who clearly didn't read my post, but instead assumed I was entitled and entirely to blame because I used the word help, or that I probably didn't know my own children's birthdays and allergies, I feel sorry for you and hope that you get the help you so sorely need. Dang, OP went a little hard at the end on the stupid people who comment on Reddit posts without reading the post. Those people are the worst, and you can tell the second they open their stupid mouths. But anyway, as for the story, the wife went on the TikTok and got some bad videos in the feed. We've seen it happen to guys, we've seen it happen to girls on this channel. Someone gets involved, peer pressure, someone gets in their ear, they see something, I don't know. And that seemed to be the case here. But you know what they did? They had an adult conversation about it. They didn't immediately jump to divorce, all right? And most reasonable people in the comments didn't assume that OP was this horrible dad. He painted a picture and, gave his wife credit, but just said, hey, I don't like what's going on right now. And then brought it to his wife and said, hey, what can we do about this? What can you do? What can I do? What can we do together? Wow, adulthood and conversations work. Who would have freaking thought? Anyway, next story. Story number 4. Am I the a-hole for not bringing a gift to my sister's baby shower? In December, I've reached out to a local crochet business to make a blanket/stuffy for my sister's baby shower, which was this past weekend in March. I've been consistently reaching out to this local business to ensure that the lovely is done on time. I work a lot, so trying to arrange pickup has been difficult. So I gave the owner numerous days and times where I could pick up the week before the baby shower. The owner told me that none of those times work. We finally agree on me picking up the stuffed animal 1 hour before my sister's baby shower starts. I arrive at the crochet store, which is 30 minutes out of my way to my sister's baby shower, and I receive a text message from the owner as soon as I pull up to the store saying that it is not ready yet. Keep in mind, I ordered this in December. So I go ahead and go to my sister's baby shower empty-handed because I did not have any time to stop at the store and pick up another gift. My sister is furious at the fact that I do not have a gift with me. She says that it is rude and disrespectful to her and the baby because I did not bring something. I tried to explain the situation to her. I told her that the lady from the store that I bought the gift from did not have it ready on time. I showed my sister the inspiration picture for the gift, and she said she looks forward to seeing it when it's done. However, she is deeply disappointed that it's not finished. She blamed me for it not being done and said that it was probably an excuse because I probably forgot the shower. She told me I could have at least bought something else because it is embarrassing for her sister to come in with no gift in front of her husband's family, who are very traditional and hoity. I told her to knock it off because it's not my fault. She proceeds to cry, and everyone told me to stop being so mean and careless to the pregnant lady. I just sat through the rest of the shower. I then leave without really saying anything else to anyone. Fast forward to today, I am finally able to pick up the stuffed animal. The stuffed animal / blanket looks nothing like the inspiration photos that I sent to this crochet lady. She did not even make the blankets that came along with it. I had to drop those off in January. I spent nearly $200 on this gift for my sister, $50 for the blankets and $150 for the crochet animals. I immediately went over to my sister's house and gave them to her and apologized. She threw a fit and said they look nothing like how I described and that I should be ashamed that I even brought this as a present for her. She told me that she does not want the gift, especially because it's late and looks like crap. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Now here are some relevant comments. One user asked, did the owner claim to be able to make these? Did you look for artists who specialize in creating items like this, or just ask some random person at a shop if they could do it? The lady at the shop said she could easily make it and her other work looked great. I specifically looked for local businesses so it would be made in my town. She had good reviews too. Then another user commented and said, you should have bought something from the registry instead, OP. Everything was already bought off the registry. There were only a few items, and I have a large family. Then another user asked, did you see something cute as hell online and then try to source it to someone to do it cheaper? No. I contacted the shop, the one pictured in the photo, and asked if they could do a dog instead. They said no. So I went to the local business route and asked on my local Facebook page, and that is where I found her business. Update number 2. So I went to her shop and told her, these are nothing like what I asked for, and I paid way too much money to be unhappy with the outcome. I noticed the blankets aren't secured to the animals and the material feels quite fragile, with stuffing coming loose from handling them. Given the risk of infants potentially ingesting the stuffing if they tear open the stitching, these items don't seem safe for young children. These aren't suitable gifts for my sister's children, considering their safety. Also, the process of getting this finished was extremely unprofessional. I want my money back. Then she was like, well, the inspiration pictures have stuffing in them, so maybe you shouldn't get this for an infant. Meanwhile, I'm thinking babies have loveys with stuffing in them all the time. Maybe she should have tighter stitching or lined them so the stuffing doesn't fall out. My boyfriend tossed it around and a clump fell out through a hole. And then she was like, I think they look similar to the inspiration, except that they were connected a different way. I gave them back to her and was like, there, I returned them, I don't want them. Money back now. And she, thank the Lord, gave it back to me after a lot of back and forth and raised voices. Thank you all for such kind responses and giving me the courage to say something. I think I may pick up crocheting now. All just so I have a reason to post on this subreddit. Also, to all the lovely people who offered to make something new or have just been kind, thank you. Mwah. Much love. That was her kissing at the end, by the way, not me. I'm too shy to kiss you. But anyway, about the story, let's talk about the sisters. So she was like, hey, where's your gift? I hate you. Look, I get it. You know, you should show up to these things and have a gift. That's just how it goes. But I mean, I feel like the sister was a little harsh on OP. And then OP didn't have time for a gift, and then her sister was like, yeah, sure, bucko, okay. But also, I'm gonna be a little harsh on OP here. I know that she has a busy work schedule, but the fact that she was doing this in December and, like, was gonna pick it up the day of the thing, like, the event, that's crazy. I know she works, but I don't know. I wouldn't do that, but I don't know her schedule. But, I don't know. I feel like OP's got something to work out with the sister, or the sister has something to work out with herself. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, what do you guys think about this story? But we are at the end of the video. Make sure to eat your breakfast if you haven't already, and have a good day. Bye-bye!